Hello everyone. Let's get started to preparation video of midterm. Okay, let's start. First, I take the laser pointer. Okay, the first topic is production possibility frontier. As you know, the meaning of production possibility frontier, that is the negative slope curve that show when we use resources efficiently, that show the options of what we produce for the goods. The first type of question is interpret the points for the PPF. If you are on the production possibility frontier curve, that means that you can use resources efficiently. That's why we can call these dots efficient. So A, B, C, D, E, and F on the point on production possibility frontier. That's why we can call it efficient. The other option is inside on the curve. That means that we cannot use resources efficiently. That means that we can use resources inefficient. That's why point G denoted with inefficient. And the last option, we can outside of the box or curve. That is the curve that show you get the maximum. That's why the outside called unattainable or unreachable points. So the H point is called unattainable or unreachable, the same. The second type of question for the production possibility frontier is to interpret the opportunity cost. As you know, again, the opportunity cost means that, or focus on what you get and what you give up, okay? That show the best alternative give up for the getting part. Let's look at that question. What is the opportunity cost of getting from point D to C? Okay, let's look at the point C. Or it can start with D, sorry about it. At point D, you see 18 dead one and 20 dead one. For moving D to C, 24 dead one and 15 dead one. So when we move that part, we see we give up 5 units of dead one and we get 6 units of dead one. So the opportunity cost of moving D to C is giving up 5 units of Y, this is Y, and getting 6 units of X. This is vertical line, this is horizontal line. For that question, it's different, X and Y. Sorry about it. It's depend on the question. Okay. For focusing on production possibility frontier, we have to make interpretation on points. Then we can make or comment on the opportunity cost. Then one more thing. We are also able to say that for producing for that question, producing one more refrigerator, how much can we give up for the ovens? As I said, the production possibility curve is negatively slope. So for producing one more refrigerator, we have to give up more and more for the ovens, because the negative slope production possibility curve means that these resources are scarce. That's why we always give up more and more. For calculate how much can we give up for producing one more refrigerator, or I'm able to say that for producing one more the goods which located in horizontal line, how many can we give up for the vertical line? For that question, it's open. We can use a formula. Let's look at that formula. That is called marginal rate of transformation. For producing one more refrigerator, how many can we give up for the ohms? We can use by using the formula of MRT. Very easy formula. In absolute terms, delta y, delta vertical line divided delta horizontal line. Delta means change, okay? But don't forget, absolute terms. Okay, let's do it example. This time question ask B to C. So we move B to C. For moving B to C, there is a 8 increase for the refrigerator. For getting 8 refrigerators, we give up 24 units of ohms. Okay. So delta x is 8, delta y is minus 24. So the answer is 3. What did it mean? That means that for getting one more refrigerator on the points B to C, we have to give up 3 units of ohms. Okay. This time, moving in first question, we can move B to C. This time, move forward, C to D. Okay, let's do it together. But where is that part? Let's get the pen. This time, C to D. Again, 8. This time, give up 56. So answer is 7. For moving B to C, we find answer is 3. This time we find answer is 7. Let's get laser pointer. I'm gonna show something. Okay, for moving that part to that part, the give up become greater and greater. First time for moving B to C, we give up 3, then we give up 7. Why the answer become greater? Because the resources are scarce or limited. That means that for using resources, less efficient or inefficient. That's why we can give up more and more for the other goods, for producing, for refrigerator. Okay, then the second point is, or second topic is absolute advantage. That comes from the idea of Adam Smith. Let's look at together. If a producer can produce any product using fewer resources, the producer has an absolute advantage. Okay, that means that lower cost per unit. Very easy idea. If you don't understand that part, using fewer resources means that at this same time period, if a producer produce more than other producers, that producer get the absolute advantage. Then we can focus on the comparative advantage. This is David Ricardo said that Adam Smith was not true. We cannot compare the numbers of production. Rather, we can use the opportunity cost. We can compare the opportunity cost of producers for a good. And He said if a producer get lower opportunity cost for that good, that means that the winner of lower opportunity costs get the comparative advantage for that good. And David Ricardo said one more thing. If a producer gets a comparative advantage of a good, that producer also gets specialization and trade. Okay, let's look at example to understand easily. Very easy question. We have a two producer, Carson and Edith. They produce only two products, sheepskin and wool. Carson produced 15 sheepskin. Edith produced 12 sheepskin. Carson produced 3 wool. Edith produced 2 wool. Okay, we understand the table, then we can move. Let's look at the first question. Which producer has absolute advantage in sheepskin? I said for the absolute advantage, the greater number is the winner. Carson for the sheepskin 15, Edith 12. Which one is greater number? Definitely Carson. So Carson has an absolute advantage for the sheepskin because he produced more than Edith. Okay. And you know the exam is multiple choice, so don't worry about the writing part. The second question is, which producer has an absolute advantage in wheel? Carson for wheel production 3, Edith 2. Again, as you see, Carson produced more than Edith for the wheel production, so Carson has an absolute advantage for the wheel. Okay, let's move to the C. There's a hint over here. The winner of that one gets all questions. So same answer. The winner of opportunity cost get comparative advantage winner, specialization winner, and trade winner. Okay. So let's look at the first one. What is the opportunity cost of producing wheel for Carson and Edith? And they ask the comparative advantage for wheel, specialization in wheel, trade in wheel. The question asks wheel. I give the formula of opportunity cost. Opportunity cost formula is give up divided get. We have a two goods, sheepskin and wheel. How can we understand which one is give up, which one is get? Very easy. What you see in the question, that is what you get. Okay. For that question, they said wheels or wheel, so that is what we get. And other production is what we give up. Okay, let's try to find yourself. Okay, let's move it. Let's start with the first one. What is the opportunity cost for the wheel? Let's start with the cars. Opportunity cost for the cars. Opportunity cost formula is give up, get. What we get? Wheel. The other is sheepskin, so that is give up. Let's look at the Carson. Carson produced 15 sheepskin, and 3 wheel. So opportunity cost for Carson for the wheel is 5. For the idiot, 12 divided 2, this is 6. What David Ricardo said, the small or less opportunity cost is the winner. So for that question, Carson get the fewer opportunity costs. That's why Carson get the comparative advantage for the wheel. The winner of comparative advantage win also specialization and trade, okay? Don't forget. The same answer. And let's look at the opportunity cost for this time sheepskin. Comparative advantage sheepskin, specialized sheepskin, trade in sheepskin. This time we can rotate it. You can, please do it yourself, okay? This time, idiot get the less opportunity cost, so idiot has an comparative advantage on what we get, sheepskin production. And I said the winner of comparative advantage also get the specialization and trade. Okay. Okay, let's come to the demand and supply part, then the market equilibrium. Okay, let's remember the determinants of the demand. The first one is price of own goods. The second one is income. The third one is wealth. Then the prices of other products, taste and preferences, our expectation about future income, wealth, and prices. If price of own goods changes, we can move along the demand curve. But if, I can change the color, other factors changes, this time demand curve is shifting to the right or shifting to the left, okay? Let's look at that part, but before that, let's remember the law of demand. The law of demand said that the price and quantity demanded relationship is negative, as you see on the table. So this is the demand curve, negative slope, and the law of demand said that the price and quantity demanded relationship is negative. If the price of good changes, we can move along the demand curve, okay? Not shifting. Move along like that. Okay, as you remember from the lecture, then we can focus on the other factors. That one, income, wealth, prices of other goods, taste and preferences, and expectations. If the price of good changes, we can move along the demand curve. What about that part? Let's start with income and wealth. Two types of goods related with income and wealth relation. If you see that relation, means that if your income or wealth increases, then your demand increase. That type of a good called normal goods, or vice versa. Okay, when income increase and demand increase, that type of a good called normal goods. So if you see income, wealth, and demand relationship is positive direction, means increase to increase, decrease to decrease, that is called normal goods. If you see negative relationship between demand and income and wealth relation, these type of goods called inferior goods. Okay, just like that. And vice versa, decrease to increase. And other factor is prices of other goods and services. Again, two types of goods, substitute and complementary. Substitute means rival, like Pepsi Cola, but please do not memorize the example. Understand the relationship. If you see positive relation like that, when price of good X increase, then demand of Y increase. That is called substitute. What is the reasons behind that? When price of X increase, but there is no changes on the prices of Y, at that condition, relatively, the goods of Y become cheaper. That's why people demand Y. Okay? And vice versa. For the normal goods, we see the negative relation. But for the inferior goods, we see the demand, income, or wealth relationship is positive for the inferior. And for the substitute, we see the positive relation. Okay, let's look at together for saying truly. For normal goods, we see the direct relationship, increase to increase, decrease to decrease. For the inferior, increase to decrease, decrease to increase, negative relation. For substitute goods, direct relation, positive to positive, negative to negative. For the complements or complementary goods, complementary means we can use together. If we don't get one of them, then you cannot get the other one. So when one of them become higher prices, that means that we can't demand that one also. So negative relationship. And vice versa. When it become less, then we can demand Y. Let's look at the expectations. If you expect your future income or wealth increase, then you can demand now, so increase, and vice versa. If you expect future prices become increase in the future, so we can demand now for protect ourselves. Never happened in Turkey, except maybe Black Friday, I'm not sure. If you expect future prices become less, then we cannot demand now. So demand become less. Okay. If if a price of a good changes, we can move along the demand curve. But if other factor changes, we can shift it. Okay, let's do it an example. I'm not gonna do all of them, but I'm gonna show. When income or wealth increases, what happened to demand for the normal goods? I said the normal relationship, so increase in demand. So demand curve is shifting to the right. And vice versa. This time inferior goods. When income increases, what happened to demand for the inferior goods? I remember the negative relationship, so demand curve is shifting to the left. And vice versa. An increase in the price of good that is complementary good of X. What can we remember for the complementary goods? I remember the negative relationship. When the price of goods increases, what happens to complementary? The demand fall, so demand curve is shifting to the left. And vice versa. Decrease in price for the complementary goods means that increase in demand, so demand curve is shifting to the right. For the substitute goods, increase in price, the same direction relation, so demand curve is shifting to the right. And vice versa. good X becoming more fashionable means that demand curve is shifting to the right. We can demand more. The expectation that household income will increase in the future, so our demand is increasing, so demand curve is shifting to the right. Vice versa. Households' expectation that the price of goods X will increase in the future. So we demand now, not later. The demand curve is shifting to the right. Never happened in Turkey. Okay, let's look at the supply part. 3 determinants: price of a good, input price, and technologies. Law of supply. As you see on the table that the price and quantity supplied relationship is positive. That's why the supply curve is positive. Okay. If we change the price of goods, then we can move along the supply curve, that one. And if other factors, price of inputs or technologies changes, there is a shift effect, shift to the right or shift to the left. Okay, let's look at that part. A rise in input costs used in the production of eggs. Input cost increases means that more cost. That's why we can produce less. Means that supply curve is shifting to the left. That one, this is supply curve. Supply curve is shifting to the left, means less production. A decrease in input cost means that we can able to produce more, so supply curve is shifting to the right for that one. We can produce more. Use of new technology means that we can produce more, so supply curve is shifting to the right, not left. We can produce more means that we can shifting to the right for the supply curve. Then we can put together demand and supply curve to get market equilibrium. So at the condition quantity demanded equal to quantity supplied, give market equilibrium. Quantity demanded denoted QD, quantity supplied demanded QS. We can reach that condition, but this can not always happen. But for the happening condition, it's look like that. This is demand curve, this is supply curve. The intersection point give the market equilibrium. For the vertical line show price of equilibrium. For the horizontal line, that give the quantity of equilibrium. And that point is called equilibrium. I said the equilibrium condition cannot always happen. Sometimes inequality occur. For the life also the same thing happen. Sometimes quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied. The example is that one. If the price below the equilibrium level, or if the price is below the equilibrium price, for that one also, we can see the inequality condition. For that one, if the price determined by below the equilibrium level, as you see, let's look, the first intersection point is supply. This is QS amount. Then we can move to the intersection point of demand. This is QD. As you see, this is origin. For moving that part, quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied. So if we determine of, or if the state determine the below price rather than the equilibrium price, that condition can occur. Quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied. That means that excess demand, as you see. demand portion is greater than the quantity supplied. That is called excess demand or shortage. Very easy question. Price is 2.5, quantity supplied 20, quantity demanded 30. So what is the excess demand or shortage? Okay, the difference between that part. Sometimes we can determine the price above the equilibrium price. At that point, firstly we intersect the demand part, QD, then intersection supply curve, QS. At that point, what we see? The quantity supplied greater than quantity demanded. So that condition is called surplus or excess supply. For looking at the question, price is 5, quantity demand 20, quantity supplied 40. What is the difference for that part? 20, surplus or excess supply. Okay. What happened to equilibrium income and equilibrium quantity? This is our initial starting point. X is a normal goods. The condition is decrease in income. What can we know for the normal goods and demand relation? The same direction. So when the decrease in income happen, what happened to demand for the goods? Decrease in demand. That means that demand curve is shifting to the left. That one is demand curve shifting to the left. For that shifting, we get the new equilibrium or new intersection point. The first one is D0, S0. This time, there is no change in S0 supply curve, but there's a change in demand curve, that one, D1. So we able to find the intersection point of S0 and D1, that one. So price become less, quantity become less. So what can we know or what can we find it? When demand curve, I choose a different color. I get the red one. When demand curve is shifting to the left or decreasing demand, then price of equilibrium fall and quantity of equilibrium fall. Okay. If demand curve is shifting to the right, then price and quantity equilibrium fall as well. Okay, another question. X is the inferior goods, decrease in income. What happened? The negative relationship. So increase in demand means that demand curve is shifting to the right. So new equilibrium point, price increase, quantity increase. So what can we find? This time, when demand curve is shifting to the right or increasing demand, then price of equilibrium and quantity of equilibrium become increase. Okay. So for the demand, same direction. When demand increase, price and quantity increase. When demand fall, price and quantity fall. I can skip that part. You can do it yourself. This is video, that's why you can stop video and do it together. Do it yourself, sorry. Okay, new question. An increase in the price of substitute goods. What happened to the demand? The same direction. Increase in demand means that increase in demand means that demand curve is shifting to the right. That's why price increase, quantity increase. For the complementary negative relation, so demand curve is shifting to the left. When demand curve is shifting to the left, price of equilibrium fall, quantity of equilibrium fall. The same vice versa question. Please do it alone for that part. This is related with supply, that's why we can do it together. Increase in production cost. Production cost means that input price. When input price increases, we can produce less. So supply curve is shifting to the left. When supply curve is shifting to the left, new equilibrium. So price increase, but quantity decrease. So when supply curve is shifting to the left, supply less means that you can produce less. So quantity of equilibrium less items become higher price. So price of equilibrium become higher. What happened to decrease in production cost of X means that we can produce more, so supply curve is shifting to the right. So when supply curve is shifting to the right, there's a decrease in price, but this time there's an increase in quantity. So when supply increase, means that quantity of equilibrium increase, but price of equilibrium decrease. Okay. For that part, also easy question. Is there any shortage or surplus when price is 0.18? At 0.18, what do you see? Quantity supplied is more than quantity demanded, so surplus. For that one, also they asked that one. For that part, quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied, so excess demand or shortage. What is the equilibrium? Equilibrium condition is quantity supplied and quantity demanded equality. So that point. So quantity equilibrium price is 0.36. Quantity equilibrium quantity is 70. This is multiple choice question, so I'm not gonna ask how can you draw it. But if you want, you can try it. I can skip that part. Please calculate it. Another question. I can ask the table one or the equation one. Okay, the question asks, what is the price of equilibrium and quantity of equilibrium? Okay, let's do it together. I can use another color. What is the equilibrium condition? QD equal to QS. What is the QD? 100 minus 20p equal to 50 plus 30p. Let's put one side to apple. Let's put other side to the orange. So 100 minus 50 equal to 30p plus 20p. So 100 equal to, sorry about my handwriting, 20p. So price of equilibrium is 2. What about the quantity of equilibrium? Put that 2 into that 1 or that 1. It's up to you. So quantity of equilibrium is 100 minus 20 multiply 2. This is 60. But I think there's a missing point over here. Okay, find my wrong. Sorry about it. I'm not gonna delete that part, but I can show my wrong. I'm really sorry about it. 100 minus 50 means 50. Sorry about it. So price of equilibrium is 1. When we put 1 to that part, this time this is 80. Or you can use that part also. If you find the equal number, this is true. 50 plus 30 multiply 1. This is 80 also. So quantity of equilibrium is 80. Sorry about my fault, but I think all of you got it. Okay, let's move to the other slide. Last two question type. The first one is elasticity. In previous chapter, we see the relationship between price and quantity by looking at the law of demand and law of supply, but we cannot understand how much it can react. For understand how much they can for understanding for these changes, we can make two sensitivity analysis, and this is called elasticity. And for the measurement of elasticity, we can use some formulas. We can use two types of formulas for getting the elasticity that show when we change the price, how they can change in the quantity demanded. We can use two types of formula. The first one is percentage change formula, that one. Change in quantity divided change in price for the percentage level, that one. And the second one is midpoint formula. That formula also. The bottom part is different, but the up part is the same for the percentage change. You can calculate it, or I give the number of price elasticity of demand. How can we make comment on that one? If you find answer, or I give the answer is 0, this is called perfectly inelastic. If the answer is the relationship between, not relation, the range between, sorry, 0 and 1, this is called inelastic. If the answer is 1, unit elastic. If the greater than 1, elastic. And if you find the answer is infinite, this is called perfectly elastic. Then we can focus on the elasticity and total revenue relation. Let's look at the elastic goods. The elastic goods means that you can react more. That means that if I increase the price 1%, I know the demand fall, but more than 1%. It's like that. For example, if I increase the price for that portion, the reaction is more. You see, the falling part is surpass the increased part or greater than that part. So the falling part is greater, so total revenue falling. Because in the elastic goods means that the rival or competition level is too high. If you increase the price, then you can lose your sales. Okay, that's why for the elastic goods, for increasing price is not a good. So for the elastic good, total revenue price relationship is negative. So vice versa. When price fall, this time the quantity increase more than the decreased part, so total revenue increase. So the competition is too high, so that's why when you decrease the price, you get the total revenue. But this is not always happen in real life. For inelastic goods, inelastic goods means that the competition level is low. So when you increase the price, the quantity level fall but less, because for that inelastic goods, the people always get it, so they cannot mostly focus on the price level, like gasoline in Turkey. So what we see for the inelastic goods, total revenue price level is increase. For the decreasing price for inelastic good, this time total revenue fall. You see the falling part is greater than the increased part, so winner is decreasing part. Two types of elasticity more. The first one is price elasticity of demand. The second one is that one, income elasticity of demand. That means that when we increase or decrease the income or change the income level, how they can react for the quantity demanded part, demand part. If the answer is positive but less than 1, that is called normal and necessity goods. If answer is positive but or positive and greater than 1, normal and luxury. If the answer is negative, this time inferior. Okay, you have to memorize that part. Also the price of previous elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand. This time, when we change the price of X, how they can react for the quantity of demand of Y good. If the answer is positive, substitute, 0 unrelated, and negative complementary. Okay, I give the cross price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, and price elasticity of demand. Okay, 3 types of elasticity. Here, let's look at the question. Let's look at that table. I give the commodity, gasoline, diamond, tea, and bus. The first column give the price elasticity of demand. Second one, income elasticity of demand. Then changes price for the commodities. So gasoline, diesel. Diamond, there is no. Tea and milk. Bus and car. Income elasticity, and the last one is cross price elasticity of demand. I said 3 formulas. So 3 column, that one, and that one. You can able to interpret before starting question, but for the interpretation for x and y is impossible, because for that question you can calculate it. Let's look at it. If the price of gasoline goods increases 4 to 8, then quantity demanded decreases from 100 to 80 using the percentage change formula. The first one is price P1, then P2, Q1, Q2. Then we can use the percentage change formula. Then we can find the answer is 0.2. So x is 0.2. So this is the range between 0 and 1. So this is inelastic good. For the midpoint formula, the same direction, but different perspective for using different formula. P1, P2, Q1, Q2. Then I think the answer is 5. So greater than 1, so this is elastic. Okay. Then the table is ready. Let's look at that part. Which one is inelastic demand? For understand which one is inelastic, which one is elastic, we can look at that one, price elasticity of demand. Gasoline 0.2, so that is inelastic. Remember that part. Diamond 5, more than 1, elastic. T, the range between 0 and 1, inelastic. Bus, inelastic. Okay? Really easy. Which one is normal, which one is inferior? We can look at the income elasticity of demand. Gasoline, negative, so inferior. Diamond, 1.3, that one, normal and luxury. For the T, there is no information. For the bus, that one, positive and less than. Normal and necessity. Okay. Which goods are substitute and which goods are complementary? For looking that part, cross price elasticity of demand. Gasoline minus, diamond no information, T positive, bus 0. Negative, so gasoline and diesels are complementary. Diamond no information. Tea and milk are substitute. Bus and car 0 means unrelated. So please don't forget. I'm gonna write it down by looking these relations, not the real life example. Okay. If the price of gasoline increases, how they can affect the total revenues? So gasoline is an inelastic, so less reaction. When price increases, the quantity fall but less. So total revenue increases. Okay. When the price of milk increases, how they can affect the tea demanded. Tea and milk are the substitute goods. For increase one of them, the demand for also increase because these are substitute. Okay, let's come to the last one. Okay, let's come to the last topic, the utility part. I'm not gonna give the detail of cardinal utility approach or ordinal utility approach, but I give the example of utility questions, but a little bit make revision to how can we solve it. I'm gonna check that part. Okay, in the question, I give the two goods, apple and orange, or X and Y. We can compare the marginal utility per rule. If marginal utility of X divided price of Y, or the sorry about it, marginal utility of price for X greater than marginal utility of Y, price of Y, that means that for selecting X, we get more utility, so we choose X. For that condition, for getting Y, we get more utility. That's why we can choose the item of Y. Buyurun. Sorry, I'm at the Autonomous University in my office. We have an education, that's why someone interrupt us. Okay, let's move. Let's remind again. If you see that condition, we can choose X. For that condition, choose Y. But one more condition also happen. Equality condition. That means that you are indifferent to choose X and Y. At that part, you can choose the cheaper one because cheaper one is more logical to get it. Yeah, let's come to the question. That's one. This question is maybe your midterm question. I'm not sure. We can see. Apple is 1 Turkish lira, orange is 2 Turkish lira. The question give the number of products for apple and orange, then give the total utility. But this is 0, 0, more true. Then the third column asks the marginal utility. The fourth one is marginal utility divided price. For the price is 1, for the price is 2. Marginal means additional. Okay, let's do it together. In 0 level, there is no marginal utility. For getting one more apple, the total utility becomes 0. This is called 0, 0 to 10. So the difference is 10. Then 18. Then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. For the orange, 24, 20, 18, 16, 12, 6, 4. Then we can divide to price, 1 for apple, 2 for orange. 10 to 1, 10, 8 to 1, 8. It's going to like that. For that part, we can divide to 2. 24 divided to 12. Then it's going to like that. Okay, this is the first part of the story. Then the question asks, I give 10 Turkish lira to you. What is the utility maximization selection for apple and orange for using 10 Turkish lira? Or how many apple and orange to maximize our utility by using 10 Turkish lira? is comparable. Let's remember that part. Sorry. Let's think this is apple, this is orange. If you see that condition, choose apple. If you see that condition, choose orange. If you see that condition, apple is 1 Turkish lira, orange is 2 Turkish lira. So choose apple. Okay. Don't look the zero level. Start with the first one. If you get 1 apple, price marginal utility per price is 10. If you get 1 orange, you get 12 marginal utility per price. Let's compare it. Which one is greater? Definitely orange one. Orange one is greater than that one. So we can pick the orange. We start with 10 Turkish lira, then we can pay 8 Turkish lira left. We can use that one. So we can move down. But for the apple, we are still over there, okay? We are still for using 10. So for getting 1 apple, we get 10. For getting 1 more orange, we get 10. Which one is cheaper? This time, apple, the same number. For the same number, we get the cheaper one, so apple. we pay 1, so 7 Turkish lira left. So we can move down for the apple also. This time, getting 1 more apple, 8. 1 more orange, 10. Which one is greater? Orange. So we choose orange. We pay 2 Turkish lira, so 5 Turkish lira left. Then we can move for the orange, but we are still hold for the apple. Then, okay, let's compare. 8 to 9. We can choose 9, orange. 3 Turkish lira left. Still we are over here. 8 to 8. 8 to 8, so equality, cheaper one, this time apple. 2 Turkish lira left, then 7 to 8. So we choose the orange one. Lira Turkish lira left. Okay. For maximizing our utility by using 10 Turkish lira, we get 1 and 2 apple and 4 oranges. Okay. How can we show on the graph? We use the budget line. For getting that number, apple is, let's remind, 1 Turkish lira, orange is 2 Turkish lira, and our income is 10 Turkish lira, okay? For finding that maximum apple number, we can divide 10 to 1. For finding 5, divide income 10 divided price of orange 2, okay? Then what can we find the answer? I said 2 apple and 4 orange. This is the utility maximizing level. And the intersection between budget line and utility maximizing level, that's called consumer equilibrium. At that point, the indifference curve going over there. This is indifference curve. Okay. Let's show more obvious. I think this is the last slide. Okay, let's come to that part. Okay, thanks for watching that video. Please don't forget to make like, and good luck on your exam. Have a great day. I can stop the video, then I can upload it. I have a problem for the mouse, that's why I'll not stop it. Okay, I can achieve it. So again, thanks for watching and good luck on your exam or exams. See you on exam and lectures. Bye-bye.